Whole new slew of things going on. Over 143,000 pounds of meat is recalled nationwide. And get this, they want you to read the label to make sure it's really what it is. Getting out of control. Another crazy thing, after July 4th, they're saying that they're about to start spraying extremely toxic chemical on rivers and lakes. Gonna tell you more about that. This seems crazy. In Florida, have you seen what's going on off the coast of Florida? Some people are saying you're getting zapped with frequencies. I'm gonna tell you more about that. And China, what are they up to? Well, something called a blackout bomb. Yeah, I'm talking about putting a large area out of power. Got a really interesting thing with RFK Jr. regarding you in a tracking system and an update on how far AI is coming and did they go too far this time. New news coming out. Brand new information that's going to affect you coming right up. Hey guys, my name is Cohen here at Riverside Homestead, and if you're brand new here, welcome. And if you guys are into prepping tips, emergency preparedness, and most important, news and awareness that affects you, be sure to start this video off with a like, hit that notification bell so you guys can stay up to date, and let's begin. All right, folks, we're due for a quick little news drop of some current things going on right now. Flooding the news, over 143,000 pounds of deli meat recalled nationwide due to undeclared ingredients. Now, get this, it gets even worse. The USDA warns consumers after massive deli meat recall. Get this, they want you to examine the ingredients and make sure it really is what it is. Isn't that their job? Check this out. The USDA recommends throwing away any suspect products and returning it to the place of purchase. Consumers with questions, call this number, that email. But get this, while the agency doesn't expect any adverse health effects, the recall highlights the importance of transparent labeling and the need for consumers to check what's really in their food, especially when it comes to processed meats. So now we're supposed to make sure that we're getting what it says that we're getting. We have to do the research, and this is coming after this article. If you've recently bought any meat, and they're like talking about in the last 3 months, right? Like you probably still have it in your fridge. You might want to double check your stash. According to the announcement from the U.S. Department of Agricultural Food Safety and Inspection Services, the FSIS, Geyser European Style Provision Incorporation is recalling approximately 143,000, almost 144,000 pounds of ready-to-eat deli meat due to misbranding. More specifically, the product subject to the recall contains meat or poultry source materials that are not declared on the product labels. This is what I'm talking about. You guys aren't even getting what you think you're getting anymore. And there's definitely nobody double checking this to make sure that the food on our shelves is safe and what it is and what it's supposed to be. Anyway, right there is a quick list if you guys want to snap a shot of that and double check your stash. While we're here, I'll also tell you also about this blueberry recall update as the FDA issues for the most severe risk level. So yeah, if you guys are picking up blueberries out there, the FDA has chalked this up to the most severe. They're saying Alma Pack International, based in Georgia, issued a voluntary recall for 400 boxes of its organic blueberries. On June 9th, the FDA subsequently issued a Class 1 risk classification on July 1st, which is kind of a big deal. In case you guys didn't know, a Class 1 classification it's a situation where there is a reasonable probability that the use of the exposure to a volatile product that cause serious adverse health consequences or death, according to the FDA. So yeah, reasonable probability on this one. Now, did you guys hear about what's gonna happen after July 4th? And I'm talking about what they're saying, a deadly chemical that's going to be sprayed in the waterways. On this Wall Street Apes post, it says, after July 4th, rivers and lakes are about to start being sprayed with an extremely toxic chemical called diquat in Connecticut and plans to go nationwide. This is why it's even a bigger deal, because they do it in one place and then they justify doing it everywhere. And it gets worse. They say that this has been sprayed before. The video 2 and 3, which I'll show you, it kills everything. They're saying it's so bad that it kills everything. Now this poster says politicians are getting rich off this deal along with many other people in the government. In quotes, Connecticut is about to poison its own lakes and rivers with highly toxic chemicals called dicot, and it seems like no one knows about it. It's actually a coordinated plan that they're about to roll out in all states all over the country. So just so you guys know, yet again, this particular chemical is banned in Europe and highly toxic to humans, and not only humans, wildlife alike. It says that this person's heard that landscapers refer to dicot as nuclear option. Now what this person said when they were writing this is they looked it up and saw that it was this state in Connecticut. I was shocked to see that right after the 4th of July, they plan on spraying it on several lakes out here. Of course, when you start following the money, you see how huge of state funding and therefore is lining a whole lot of pockets. This guy says he thinks that it's not a partisan issue, it's just downright evil. It also says 12 sites across the lower Connecticut River to be sprayed. First, chemical dicot, dibromide, banned in Europe, highly toxic to wildlife, humans, scheduled after July 4th, 2025, approved by CT, DEEP, and U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. The sites that they include. Anyway, let's just see what this guy says with boots on the ground down there.
See how there's no bottom limb? See how all the bottom limbs, the whole layer of where they've sprayed, and it's killed it. So when they spray it, all of those bottom limbs are dead. Those should be coming down into the water alive. So you'll see how, I mean, there's no elasticity at all in these things. So everything that should be going down to the water, see that? That's dead. There's no rubbery, no elastic in here. So that's why you don't have any, where they spray, that's why you don't have any life, 4 to 8 feet from the water. And I'll show you what it's supposed to look like. Places where they haven't sprayed, those limbs go down into the water. They're alive. This is how it's supposed to look.
So yeah, and I'm guessing that a lot of locals probably fish those waters. It's crazy what gets approved and how much funding goes towards this stuff. And I don't know, I'm sure they're probably, if you guys know anything about it, put it down in the comments, but I'm sure it's solving one problem and probably making a million others.
Dead turtles that I found in the spray areas, and she called me and she goes, I saw all these turtles coming up out of the lake, and I thought they were coming up to lay eggs, and the next day they were dead. This was right after they sprayed. So I came over here and looked at it, and we just came over here to check it out. There's one dead turtle. Okay. Here's 2, 3 dead turtles. They all came up the hill, did a little stop right there at the fence because they couldn't get through it. Let's see. Here's 4 dead turtles. Remember, this has been a month and a half ago that they sprayed, so they've already been picked clean with the guts and everything are gone. Here's 5 right here. Let's see. Here is 6 right there. And here is 7 right here. And so, she thought that they were just coming up to lay eggs, and the next day they were all dead.
Anyway, what do you guys think? Is this a coincidence, or is that stuff, dicot or whatever it's called, taking out everything around that? And that's just the turtles. Think about all the fish. Think about the birds eating the insects, eating the dead turtles. I imagine a lot of stuff's getting poisoned. Anyway, figured you guys should know about that. Anyway, just a couple more important things that you need to know. One, what the heck is going on down off of Florida? Some people are saying that they're getting zapped by some kind of radio waves. You guys let me know in the comments if you guys think something's brewing here. Let's hear what this guy has to say.
What in the world is happening off the coast of Anna Maria Island near the coast of Florida? Not only is there sonoluminescence happening, but check this out. There are literally waves in the patterns of squares. This is a person right there, and I've never seen anything like this. It is quite bizarre, and I don't think I agree with what the mainstream is saying. Because the mainstream simply says that square waves, also known as cross seas, are caused by the meeting of two sets of ocean waves from different weather systems. Well, maybe I would believe that if there weren't also crazy square patterns in the clouds in that same area, and also the sonoluminescence going on at the same time. But when you take a closer look, you realize that simple sound frequency can change the patterns of water, even to patterns that seem to have 90-degree square angles. And certain frequencies just happen to look exactly like those clouds and waves. And when you see that certain frequencies can cause certain patterns, and certain frequencies look just like those water patterns at Anna Maria Island, and you also see that certain frequencies can generate light. So maybe what's going on at Anna Maria Island isn't what they're telling us. Maybe they're throwing some frequencies out into the atmosphere. Frequencies that are causing water to respond a certain way, frequencies that are causing clouds to respond a certain way, and maybe even frequencies to make people act in different ways, because frequencies can have psychological and emotional effects. So next time you hear about the sonoluminescence or square waves in your area, ask yourself, is what they're telling us really what's going on, or something else? And of course, this is all for entertainment purposes. I know that this is just caused by two wave patterns intersecting. Entertainment only.
Kind of weird, right? You guys tell me what you guys think down in the comments. Personally, about everything that's going on these days, probably just entertainment purposes only, and it's probably just the different tide changes, just like he said. 3 more topics. What's China doing now? RFK Jr. and this tracking device they're talking about, and how far did AI go now and how it affects us all. First, this has just came out in the last day or two. China's new, they're calling it the blackout bomb, can bring down power grids for thousands of square miles. So yeah, another thing, and I bet you, I don't know if this thing's gonna be used, if it's silent, I don't know. But when we're talking about power outages and being prepared, always good to be prepared for power outages. They're saying China has stirred concern with the unveiling of a new enigmatic blackout bomb, which is raising alarm bells for Taiwan, the United States, and other adversaries. They're saying this type of weapon is capable of disrupting enemy power stations, leading to complete loss of electricity across a swath of approximately 10,000 square miles. And this was distributed by China's official broadcaster, China Central Television, CCTV. They're saying it can be fired from land-based platforms, and it's some kind of graphite bomb disperses over 90 cylindrical submunitions that actually hop before erupting and exploding airborne, causing carbon strands to short electrical systems. Anyway, I'll say that's enough about that. If you guys want to look that one up, look it up. But what they're coming out with, I don't know if they're just doing it to mess around, but I imagine we're going to see something like that one day. Now, we've got RFK Jr. bringing a lot of American health concerns to light, but what is he up to now, and do you guys agree? They're saying security experts are raising the alarm over RFK Jr.'s proposal to put health tracking devices on every American. Sounds bad right out of the gate, but what does he mean? If you don't already wear a fitness tracker or smart ring, that may soon change, especially if federal officials get their way. But in his perspective, he's just wanting people to take more control of their health and probably be more aware of what's going on with all of the junk that's in stuff. We're talking about, Kennedy argued that the device tracking things, this tracking device is kind of like an Apple Watch, you know, or there's lots of different kinds. But Kennedy argued that the devices tracking things like heart rate, glucose levels, physical activity could empower individuals to make healthier choices. People can see in real time how food impacts their body, he said, and make better decisions about diet, exercise, and lifestyles. So a lot of the concern is like just the government having this information. Once your data exists, it's vulnerable, said Hammerstone. So at the bottom says whether you're considering getting the wearable or already own it, it's important to understand the trade-offs and taking steps to safeguard your privacy. So there is a lot of AI involved in this, and I'm guessing, you know, data received and who's all gonna have that data. But I do think that people need to be, and tell me if you guys agree, that people need to be tracking what they're doing. Maybe not for the government, but for yourself. It's good to know what you're eating and how that spikes your blood sugar and everything else, because getting plugged into AI even more and then it connected to the government, yeah, I mean, I'm not liking the sounds of that, especially when you see an article like this. Google Gemini is about to control your messages and calls, even if you say no. Yeah, Gemini has gone to a whole new level. It says on July 7th, Google's Gemini assistant will be able to send a WhatsApp message, place a call, adjust your volume, or set a timer, even if you told it not to track what you're doing. And no, it's not something you need to opt out, nor can you opt anything with it. It's a new norm. This article says it's because Google is quietly rewriting the rules of how Assistant AI works on your phone. If you thought turning off Gemini apps actively meant turning off Gemini's reach into your personal life, think again. Gemini is going to live in your apps whether you like it or not. Yeah. It's really happening. The barrier is about to vanish. Starting July 7th, Gemini will gain access to 4 key phone services: phone, messages, WhatsApp, and utilities, volume, flashlight, alarm, and media controls, regardless of whether you've turned the activity tracking on or off. And like I've been telling you guys for months now, this AI stuff is accelerating at the speed of light. And I've asked you before, do you think it's gonna be problematic or it's gonna be a good thing, making things easier? Or is it gonna take over? Anyway, I like keeping you guys up to date with stuff that affects you. You guys appreciate it, make sure you hit the like button, make sure that notification bell's still on, because I got a lot more interesting things coming down the pipe. Keep prepping, keep learning, keep doing. We'll see you on the next one.